Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we are going to be going over the Athodai and its alternate fire mode. Now yesterday we went over the Athodai and its primary fire mode. And like a lot of weapons that have primary and alternate fires, they don't necessarily play well together. One is more crit focused, one is more status focused, and so they're kind of built differently. And in the Athodai's case, it doesn't even actually function with the primary fire's buff that it gets. So that's why they have to be built out differently. Now, originally when I had looked at the Athodai, I had thought that the alternate fire was absolute garbage. I didn't think I was going to even have to make a build on it. And I assumed wrong. The alternate fire is actually quite strong. So we will get into that build right now. So the Athodai is a secondary, let me get it here, secondary machine laser-ish pistol. It's an automatic machine laser pistol. And its alternate fire mode, and that's the one we're doing today, is going to be a beam. It's like a flamethrower-ish kind of beam that it shoots forward. So let's get into it. Okay, so interesting things about the Athodai. So this right here is its regular fire mode. I'm going to go down to its charge fire mode here. So its charge fire mode is going to start with heat without even having to have heat on the weapon. Now we've gone ahead and put heat on the weapon, but even if you didn't, it would have heat. The other thing is that the charge mode is going to have 2 meters of innate punch through, which is amazing for secondaries because secondaries do not have access to a good punch through mod. So having innate punch through is great. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to increase the range of this beam, so it's kind of stuck at a lower range. But that punch through still helps. As long as you can get like really close and up on enemies, you can still punch through them and hit other targets. The other thing is that the beam itself is 2 meters wide. So it counts as a 2 meter wide beam. So, and as you see, there's no radial damage, so it's all direct damage, and that way galvanized shot works on it. Galvanized shot is additive to this weapon. It is not multiplicative, so galvanized shot works normally on this weapon. And I think that's it for the interesting things about the charged mode. Now, what I was saying where the charge mode doesn't really work in conjunction with the primary mode. So if you watched the video yesterday, you would know that the primary mode, when you get a headshot kill, for the next 8 seconds, you have increased fire rate, and you get free ammo for 8 seconds. And so you would think, well, I'll get a headshot kill, and then I can just use the secondary, and I could, have free ammo. Well, it actually stops any kind of alternate firing. You cannot alternate fire while you have the overdrive active. So they do not work in conjunction with each other. So we built this out anyway expecting that, but yeah, they do not work in conjunction with each other, which kind of sucks. Now the alternate fire, the charge mode here, it is going to also completely expend your magazine. So when you alternate fire, it's going to completely dump, I think it's 24 rounds. Yeah, 24 rounds. Completely dump 24 rounds, and then it's going to have to reload again. So that's another thing to know. All right, let's get into the mods. Galvanized diffusion for multi-shot. Galvanized shot for status chance and direct damage per status type affecting the target. Now, this weapon, especially the charge mode specifically, produces statuses extremely quickly. So a lot of times I'll say things like in some other videos, Hornet Strike is sometimes better than Galvanized Shot because Galvanized Shot only works on upcoming hits after those statuses have been applied. And I mean, it's true for this weapon as well, but those full statuses are basically going to be applied in like 0.1 seconds. So it's not like a lot of weapons where it might take a second or two to have your full statuses applied. Like because of the crazy status chance, the crazy fire rate, it dumping the entire magazine, you're going to get it's only 2 statuses. It's not a lot, but you're going to get your 2 statuses like immediately. And so Galvanized Shot, you can almost look at it as just like Hornet Strike basically. because you're going to get, Hornet Strike works all the time, and Galvanized Shot is pretty much going to work all the time. It's going to be like 0.1 seconds for you to get your 2 statuses. So if you were to just translate all this text and crap on Galvanized Shot into actual numbers, it would just effectively be 240% damage flat. It's not multiplicative on this weapon. So 240 flat and 80 status chance. So that's a great mod. I mean, Hornet Strike's only 22 or 220 flat. So this is 240 flat and 80 status chance. Yeah, that's perfect. We're going to put Hornet Strike as well, though, for some more flat damage on status heavy weapons where you're kind of foregoing crit completely. There is like limited things you can do. You get to a certain point where you have almost all the mods that you can have on your weapon without getting into really shitty ones like Magnum Force. And so Hornet Strike is kind of our next best option. Like, there's not much better than Hornet Strike. So that's why we have it here. I mean, it still helps. It's still 220 flat. I love that. So that's perfect. Lethal Torrent is going to give us the 60% fire rate and 60% multi-shot. Lethal Torrent is another kind of weak mod on this weapon. So Hornet Strike and Lethal Torrent are both like the weaker mods. So if you had a Riven, they can go in either of these slots. And the reason I'm going to say Lethal Torrent is a weaker mod is because this has a crazy fire rate already. It doesn't really even need a fire rate buff. And so you're really only using Lethal Torrent for that 60 multi-shot. I mean, but multi-shot's amazing. So, it would be kind of a toss-up wherever you want to put your Riven, over Hornet Strike or over Lethal Torrent. Or if you didn't have a Riven, you use both of them, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Next, we're going to go for our Viral. Remember, the game is going to read elements from left to right, so it's important how you put your elements on. So we want it to read Viral Heat, and so we have to put a Viral on the left and then our Heat on the right. So we're going to put our Frostbite and our Pista Pestilence, which is going to be the 60-60 Cold and the 60-60 Toxin, and it's going to combine them to make Viral. And then we're going to put our 2 Heat mods. So we're going to use the 60-60 Heat mod, and we're going to use the Primed Heated Charge. Now, I didn't have Scorch on at first. I was afraid if I put Scorch on that it would be too slow to ramp up to 10 viral stacks. So 10 viral, viral only stacks to 10, but it's important to get to 10 quickly because you get the most effect out of viral. And so I was afraid if I put Scorch on, it would limit that, but it does not. With Scorch, on thick enemies that will actually live through the entire blast, you're typically going to see 50 to 60 heat procs, and of course 10 viral procs. So one charge shot is going to produce those 10 virals and about 50 to 60 heats. So it works out perfectly, and that's why I plopped in Scorch. It does not, neuter the viral really at all. And it lets you get more heat procs, of course, because viral only stacks to 10. Next, we're going to have Primed Pistol Ammo Mutation, and that's because this weapon has horrible ammo economy. You only get 3 magazines worth of ammo. You get the 24 shots that are in your weapon, and then you get 2 more magazines worth. And every time you're shooting, you're expending the entire magazine. This has very good trash killing potential, and so you will be producing a lot of ammo on the ground. But you just want to make sure that every time you're picking up ammo, you're basically restocking yourself to full. And that's why we're going to go with Prime Pistol Ammo Mutation. You know what? Something I probably should have said, because it's going to affect why we're choosing this over another one in the Exilus, is that in the charged fire mode, the alternate fire, like we're doing for this video, you cannot aim in, and so you basically can't use those aim in mods. And so, if we were able to aim in, like maybe we would use some other mods that made us aim in for crit. I don't think you would really build it for crit, but like let's say we did, you might want to go with like steady hands, let's say in the Exilus slot. But because we are hip firing this, because we literally can't aim in, that's why we're going with Prime Pistol Ammo Mutation, because you don't really care about the recoil because you're hip firing it. And out of all my testing, there was nothing that actually increased the range of the beam. I tried Lethal Momentum, did not increase the range of the beam, and sometimes on some secondaries you have access to a mod that increases your length of your beams by 8 meters, and this weapon does not have access to that mod. So there's no way to increase the length of that beam, unfortunately, for this weapon. So prime pistol ammo mutation, best in that slot. Or regular pistol ammo mutation if you don't have the primed. Okay. Next we have Cascadia Flare. Cascadia Flare is going to give us a 480% damage increase. That's going to be larger than the alternative would be Secondary Merciless. Secondary Merciless would give us a 360 flat damage. This one gives us 480. But Secondary Merciless comes with a little bit of reload speed as well. Reload speed is nice because you are going to be reloading after shooting your entire magazine. This kind of reloads pretty quick already, so I am personally just going to take the extra 120% flat. But just keep in mind, Secondary Merciless is an option. You lose out on that 120 flat. It is just flat damage, though, and you get a little bit more reload speed. So, yeah, they're kind of a toss-up. But if you watched the video yesterday, we were talking about Flare with the primary fire mode, and the primary fire mode has a very hard time keeping Flare up because it really requires you to pump heat procs out. And if you look at the primary fire, it's going to be a little bit weird because we have extra statuses here. But on our build yesterday, oh, it's actually quite messed up here because I changed around some stuff. But our build yesterday only had a 17% chance to produce fire procs. And so it was very hard to keep Cascadia Flare up. But on this one, because of the alternate fire's increased status chance, it's not 17%, it's 86% the way we have it built. The fire procs are extremely easy to keep up. It takes 2 full charge shots on an enemy to basically get you up to 480. So you can get to max Cascadia Flare in about 5 seconds or less. Probably less if you have the little reload speed for Secondary Merciless. Actually, no, then you wouldn't be using Cascadia Flare. What am I talking about? So, yeah. So this is the build for the Athodai charged mode, alternate fire. I'm going to show this off on a Steel Path Kuva Survival. This is a very strong weapon, actually. I thought this was complete garbage when I first had looked at it. And then yesterday, as I was building the primary fire, I'm like, let me throw together like a quick, alternate fire. I didn't even have all of these mods on here. I just kind of threw something that I thought would be halfway decent, and it was slaying through enemies. And I was like, oh my goodness! I think if I built this out, seriously, it could do even better. And during my testing this morning before this video, this did very good. It's very weak against the Acolyte, but everything else it's slaying through. So. Yeah, we'll show that in the gameplay. So because I don't mix this with any kind of external factors, we're going to be doing this on an Naros with no Archon shards that increase weapon damage. These are just armor and health shards. No mods on the Naros that increase weapon damage. And with a pet with no sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that increase weapon damage. That way we could test the weapon by itself without any kind of external factors. And, I leave it up to the viewer to make their own intelligent decision about things like, hey, Salt put viral on the weapon, but I'm going to be using Nourish. Maybe I'll use a different element. Things like that. So we'll test the weapon by itself, and we'll see how it does. Let me make sure I'm in that alternate fire mode. Yep, fire, okay. Hey, Slurp. The Bubonico, which one did you watch? Did you watch the alternate fire or the primary fire Bubonico? I think they're both good. I personally like the primary a little bit better, just because the alternate fire has issues with big, thick enemies, basically. You watched the alt fire? Yeah, the alt fire is a really good trash killer. Hey, thanks for following, Nyan.
Nyanified_ just followed.
All right, I'm going to start this up. And I'm going to use my 3 to give myself armor. But that's the only thing that the 3 does. It just gives me armor. Hey, Sinnoh. Yeah, everyone's got different names on these here. So these are Steel Path enemies. I don't really have any other way of armor stripping, and it's still like going through these guys extremely quickly. Remember, as soon as you alt fire, you can't stop shooting. So you might want to kind of go back and forth because you're going to be overkilling an enemy if you just aim at him by himself. And because of the really bad ammo economy on this weapon, you're going to want to try to get like 2 or more kills each charge shot. Just because you're really hoping that they drop ammo so you can stay maxed out. If at any point I have to use a ammo pad, I'll make sure I say so. Now, because this is a status build, we're going, as you notice, it's going to be white non-crits with a little bit of yellow crits. This has a poor crit multiplier anyway of 2 times. So we're not really too worried about it. I did testing. I put, I always forget the name of these things. I'm going to say critical deceleration, but it's not. It might be like Creeping Bullseye for secondaries. I put Creeping Bullseye on and I tested with it. It switches it to like 50-50 yellows and whites. You're still at a lot of whites though. It's just like 50-50. And I think because of the low crit damage, I don't think it's worth going with that. I think you're better off just going with more flat damage with Hornet Strike or more multi-shot with Lethal Torrent. I think those still beat out the 200% crit. Now, what I think I would use this weapon for personally, I'm going to head to that first set of life sports and drag some of these packs of enemies over there. What I would use this for personally is I don't know that I would use this as like my primary damage source because it's very niche. You know, it's very, very short ranged. You have to like really be up on top of enemies. It's only a status weapon, and so when the Acolyte comes out, you'll see I'm going to really struggle against the Acolyte. Everything else it's going to just fly through, but the Acolyte it's going to really struggle on. But because of that, I don't think I would use this as a full, like my primary damage source. I think I would use it as a proper secondary. So it would be a weapon that I would switch to if I needed to move a disruption key or a mobile defense key or something. And it would scale very well because a lot of secondaries, they can't use Cascadia Flare to its full potential because they maybe don't produce enough heat procs, or quick enough heat procs, I should say. But this one does. So in the case where you have to whip it out quickly and just shoot it a couple of times, it's going to be at its full effect extremely quickly. Unlike a lot of weapons where, you know, you switch to your secondary and it's really, really neutered until you get like, you know, your 12 merciless kills or your 3 headshot kills with Deadhead. And a lot of times when you're just whipping your secondary out, you don't have time to do that. So with this weapon, though, like I said, it gets to 480. It'll get to like half of that in a single shot, but it'll get to 480 in 2 full bursts. So in like less than 5 seconds, you're at its full damage potential. I mean, you could use this as a primary damage source too, like as your primary weapon, basically. It's just that you would have to have an Acolyte Killer as your either primary or melee. Because you'll see, when the Acolyte comes out, I'm going to struggle a bit. Even on Eximuses, this isn't very good. It's not doing great damage against the Eximuses. What's killing the Eximuses is the crazy amount of fire procs on them. So that guy had 100 fire procs before he died. He probably could have had more. I got a little bit staggered there, though. All right, so we have the Acolyte. You're going to see that I'm going to struggle a bit with the Acolyte. I'm going to hit this life sport real quick, though. I'm also going to give myself a little bit of armor before he comes. There he is. All right. So let's put some shots into the Acolyte here. You're going to see it's not going to do very good damage against the Acolyte. This is not going to be the best Acolyte killer. It's not even going to be an average Acolyte killer. It's going to be a pretty bad Acolyte killer. So that is the weakness. That is the weakness of this weapon. I mean, through pure attrition, it will kill the Acolyte, but it's not going to be a good Acolyte killer. I'm trying to keep some trash in between me and the Acolyte. That way I can keep getting secondary ammo. I don't run out of ammo that way. Just because if you keep blazing on the Acolyte, you know, of course he's not going to drop anything until he's dead, so you're not going to get ammo with him. He will eventually die. Don't worry. Now, I do these tests with a single weapon, and I show it off and show how good or bad it is in certain situations. But, of course, if you were to build this weapon out, and if you were going against an Acolyte, you wouldn't just be using this weapon. You could switch to your melee and kill him quicker than I'm doing currently. But I just want to show off that this is not a good Acolyte killer. There he goes. He's dead. So we're going to go back to killing some trash. Okay, 102 fire procs on him. He died. And it's going to be the same thing with the Thraxes. Like, against Thraxes, the actual damage is probably going to be a little bit piss poor, but they're still going to die very quickly because of the crazy amount of fire procs. So Eximuses will usually die after you've, like, done a 2-charge on them, because they'll be at about, like, 120 fire procs, like that guy right there. Thraxes, you're going to get even higher than that, because they're going to take more than 2 charges. So they're probably going to end up having, like, 200-300 fire procs on them before they die. After this one, though, we'll check out Lua Conjunction, and we'll test it with Thraxes. And I had a few people on the primary fire video that I did yesterday ask, or I don't know if they asked, but they just like mentioned that they didn't even know that this weapon existed. And it is kind of a weird weapon. So it's available through Railjack bonus objectives. It's like those white objectives in Railjack. And I think it's on a specific planet, but I can't remember the planet off the top of my head. So you might have to wiki that. But it's in Railjack, bonus objectives on a specific Proxima mission. And it comes in parts, so you're going to have to, farm up all the parts for it. It was the only secondary you had until today? Yeah. It's not bad. The primary fire... Oh, I got my weapon stolen. I'm like, why can't I shoot? Why am I meleeing? Wait, that's not my weapon. Where is my weapon? Oh, it's up there. Is that it? Yeah, it is. It's a pretty good weapon. The primary fire mode that I did yesterday is a little bit more of an all-arounder. The primary fire mode can deal with everything. It can also deal with Acolytes. Whereas this one is absolute doo-doo tier against Acolytes. But this mode is going to be better against Trash and also against Eximuses, I feel. This mode is better against Trash and Eximuses. The primary fire is a little bit more of an all-rounder build, where it's kind of good. It's decent against everything. The negative about the Athodai alternate fire mode is that it's very short range. Let me see here. See that guy in the distance there? If I shoot, he's not taking damage. Let me see. Let me get a little bit closer. So he's still not taking damage. The dudes in front of him did. So he just jumped off. So it's a very close range weapon, and there's no way to increase the length of the shot, unfortunately. So we're going to go to the next set of life supports, pop like 2 of them, and we're getting close to the end of the video here. Well, end of the Cougar Survival, I should say, because we'll do Lua next. They carried you through the star chart. Yeah, the primary fire is still pretty good. It's still very Steel Path viable. It's a good weapon. And it's a good all-rounder. It deals with all situations. So that's something to consider at the end here. So, like, if I look at the kills, we're at 560. 560 kills, when I do these videos, is well above average. Where is it's up here. So, if you didn't know on Cougar Survival, you can press this little button right here, and it'll put the elevator down. So that way you can go up this way. So, I got 561 kills at 10 minutes. On average weapons, like average being just like basic assault rifles like the Kuva Carrack or like the Kuva Hind, they usually hit around 400 kills. So that's like the average. So this getting 561, that's well above average. Now the primary fire yesterday only got to about 300 kills, which was below average. But the primary fire can deal with everything. That's the important thing to know is that, yes, I got more kills on the alternate fire, but when that Acolyte came out, I mean, that was a little bit painful. Like, it's not an Acolyte killer. The primary fire, though, was able to deal with everything, unlike this one. So we'll do a quick Lua Circulus. Lua Circulus is going to have stronger enemies. They're going to start at 180 to 200, and they're all going to be mixed as well. They're not just going to be all Grineer. And it's going to force me to fight Thraxes, which are kind of like Super Eximuses. So it'll show off the weapon a little bit more on bigger enemies. So I think both fire modes are viable. I don't think just because this one got 560 and the other one got 300 that the primary fire mode is doo-doo. Like, the primary fire mode, I think, is more of an all-rounder good weapon, where this one is more of a trash killer. Like, this is a really good trash killer, really good Eximus killer. Oh, ran out of ammo there. Okay, so I am going to have to use an ammo pad here. That was a little bit of bad luck. I just didn't get ammo, I guess, from the first set of enemies I killed. Once you have a large pack of enemies, though, you don't really have to worry too much because you're going to be getting a lot of kills per charge shot. So I did have to throw an ammo pad there almost at the beginning. I think I just got unlucky, though. Yeah, the Tsar is a good weapon, too. I love the Tsar. The Tsar is my primary weapon that I use on Hydroid because I like to theme my Warframes. I don't just like to do meta stuff. I like to use strong weapons, but the strong weapon has to theme with my Warframe for me to actually use it. And I use the Tsar on Hydroid, one, because it's a strong weapon, and two, because it themes with him. Because, you know, he's kind of like a ship captain, like he's got that, like, you know, pirate vibe, and the Tsar is like a big ship gun. If you actually, like, look at the model of it, it's kind of like a big cannon, like ship cannon gun. So that's why I theme it. Yeah, the cannon beat for the Hydroid. That's why I theme it with my Hydroid. I try not to be too much of a meta slave. You know, I don't put the Torrid on every single character I have. It has to theme a little bit with my Warframe for me to use it. And the Tsar is strong enough, too. The Tsar is not a bad weapon. It's a really good weapon. So not only does it theme, but it's a strong weapon. Mirage Zard until I got Brahma. Oh, yeah, with Mirage's, her little doppelgangers or whatever they're called. That's a smart way to use them with AoE weapons. I don't have a built-out Mirage yet. The only Mirage I have built out is a nuke build, but it's just an ESO nuke build. It wouldn't survive in Steel Path Endurance. I actually have to like sit down one day and build out a proper Steel Path Mirage. Sometimes I get my ESO nuke in Duviri, like on Steel Path, and it works. It'll kill everything, but I have to like hide behind boxes and stuff because it's so weak. So. All right, 3 minutes. The Acolyte can spawn anywhere between 3 and I think it's 8 minutes. 3 and 8 minutes the Acolyte can spawn. You're kind of hoping on Lua Conjunction that you get an early Acolyte because otherwise he usually spawns at about the same time as the Thraxes. so we have Misery up here.
Sentient scouts. If they detect you, fighters will soon attack. They know you're here. Prepare for sentient fighters.
I'm so sorry. I was going to check a text real quick just to make sure everything is okay. Okay. Sorry about that. It's snowing here, and I just wanted to make sure everything was okay with my wife. My weapon stolen, of course. We have Thraxes. I probably could have killed the Acolyte before Thraxes came. I was unfortunately checking my phone. I apologize. So let's put these. That's 2 charges on that one Thrax. It'll probably kill him, actually. Yeah, just tick them down. So two charges, just like Eximus is, actually. Let's see this other guy. He's already half dead, though. That's 1 charge. That's another charge. He's dead. Get him down. Oh, he's not fully dead. There he is. Now he's dead. We have the Acolyte still up here. He's armor stripped. How is he armor stripped? What the hell armor stripped him? Heat, I think, only armor strips to 50%. What is armor stripping him? Oh, it only armor strips to 50%, and he can only stack it to 4. What the hell armor stripped him? Maybe he got hit by like something? I don't really know. If you know, make sure to let me know, because I don't know why the hell that guy got armor stripped. Yeah, heat with enough heat procs. I think heat only goes to a 50% strip. And of course, the Acolytes can only stack it to 4, so I don't even think you can get the 50% strip on the Acolytes. Corrosive goes to an 80% strip, but again, you have to be able to stack it. So I'm not really sure why that guy got stripped. They reworked Inaros, and I'm hoping the 3 I'm using for my armor is not doing any weird shenanigans. I don't think it is, though. I think it literally just gives me armor and status immunity. Still need to beat the New War. The New War is such a... It's really good for lore. If you like lore, it's amazing. But if you're someone like me who just wants to like get to endgame and do... I mean, I like lore too, but I just like the actual gameplay more than the lore. The New War can just be like a big blocker because it's a big like 4-hour mission that you have to like take an entire day to do. And a lot of the stuff that you need to get to the actual point where you can do the mission is a large reason why a lot of people quit the game. So like the Necromech grind is a big reason why people quit the game. I didn't really realize that until I became a clan leader a few months ago, or almost a year ago now. And I would get people coming back, and they would be like, "Yeah, I stopped playing after I had to build a Necromech, but I'm back now. I'm going to try it again." And sometimes they'll still quit the second time because the Necromech grind just is absolutely garbage. So it's just one of those unfortunate things where I wish the Necromech grind was a little bit easier. for new players. Yeah, you ended up buying it for plat. That's what a lot of people do, unfortunately. I don't blame you. I don't blame you because a lot of people quit trying to do the actual necromech grind because the parts require you to do isolation vaults, which are fun. I love doing isolation vaults, but as a newer player, like before you fully know like what they are, they're confusing. They're actually quite hard. Like for a new player, of course. Oh, Acinix helped you with the acquisition? Yeah. Yeah, because again, it's confusing. You know, you have to do the necromech vaults. And then you have to do, I think, like fishing and mining for the other parts. And doing the necromech vaults is not a 100% chance for those things to drop either.
Don't worry, I'll take very good care of Elena. I have just the spot in the kennel for her.
Void manifestations drawn to this cursed place of stolen.
That guy took 3 charges before he died. He probably could have died in 2. I just didn't want to wait for that proc to kill him.
Queens have sought out warframes before. Vor sought to present them.
So we'll kill this guy. We're running low on life support, but it's okay. We're gonna leave you after this one anyway. So pretty easily killed all of these Thraxes. Oop, he's dead. All right. I'm going to head to Extraction just because everyone already knows how bad this is against the Acolyte. I think I've killed 3 Acolytes now with this crappy Acolyte killing weapon. It's amazing at everything else, though. It just has that one weakness where Acolytes are your arch nemesis with this weapon. Or with the alternate fire mode of this weapon, I should say. Arch gifted me one yesterday so I can get through the new war and do Steel Path with him. Nice. That was nice of him. That was super nice of him. I wish that buying it with plat wasn't like the go-to option for a lot of people. And I don't blame you for doing it. I just wish people didn't have to do it. And it's because the grind is so bad that it makes a lot of people quit the game when they're newer. I think I hear my cat running around the house yelling. I have 2 cats, and one cat is like a big fat lazy cat, and the other cat always wants to play, and so he runs around the house yelling, trying to get his fat brother to play with him. All right, we'll go over the build one more time, and that'll be it for the Athodai alternate fire build. And then we did the primary yesterday, so that'll be it completely for the Athodai after this one. It's okay, Dobby. He's yelling in the background. Okay, Athodai. It is a secondary laser machine pistol as its primary mode, but that's not what we did today. We used its alternate fire mode today. Its alternate fire mode is a beam, flamethrower, beam-ish kind of a weapon. It's hard to explain. So let's get into the build here. So the primary fire mode has something called overdrive. When you get headshot kills, all of a sudden you get more fire rate, more ammo efficiency, ammo's free. It's amazing. But you cannot alternate fire when you're in overdrive. And so the actual like primary fire build, how you're using overdrive to get free ammo, does not work with the alternate fire. And so they're effectively 2 different weapons pretty much. Even though, you know, the Athodai is the Athodai is effectively 2 different weapons. You have the regular laser machine pistol and you have the build we just did today. So let's scroll down to the actual charge mode here. And the other difference too is the charge mode is very status heavy with poor crit. And the primary fire mode is very crit heavy with poor status. And so that's another reason why they don't really work well together. They're effectively 2 completely different weapons on one weapon. Which is good, I guess, for some people. Because, hey, you get 2 weapons out of one weapon. So, okay. So interesting things about the Athodai is that it's going to start with heat. Even if you don't put heat on it, like I did, it'll start with heat. It has a 2-meter punch through innately, which is really nice because secondaries don't have a good way to get punch through. They have a punch through mod they can put on, but it's garbage. You should not use the punch through mod for secondaries. It doesn't give you anything else. The punch through mod for primaries at least gives you fire rate as well. The punch through mods for secondaries really doesn't give you anything else. So having a Nate punch through is amazing. The beam itself is going to be 2 meters wide, and there is unfortunately no way to increase the beam length. So if we look at the Exiluses, testing with lethal momentum did not increase beam length. And also there's another one that just says that it increases beam length by +8 that sometimes secondaries can get, and this secondary cannot get it. So what we're going to do is go over the mods now. So we have Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Galvanized Shot for status chance and direct damage per status type affecting the target, Hornet Strike for flat damage, Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot, Frostbite and Pistol Pestilence for our 60-60 cold and our 60-60 toxin to make viral. We're going to use Scorch as the 60-60 heat and the 60-60 status chance. Prime Heated Charge for more heat. We're just going to increase our heat weighting so that we get more heat procs than we do viral procs. Because heat procs can stack infinitely, viral procs can only stack to 10. We're going to be using Prime Pistol Ammo Mutation for ammo regen, because it has very bad ammo economy. And then we're going to be using Cascadia Flare for our flat damage, 480% flat damage. So that's pretty much it for the Athodai. It is a great weapon. Just has that weakness about killing acolytes, but as long as you can have a primary or a melee that does your acolyte killing for you, then the Athodai is a great weapon. It's also a good pocket secondary because you can get its full effect quickly with Flare. So if you're using a primary or melee as your main damage source, and you just whip out your secondary when you have to, like let's say you pick up a disruption key, or you pick up a mobile defense key or something like that, and you have to have your secondary out. The Athodai alt fire is actually very strong, because a lot of secondaries, they can't be at their full effect because it takes them too long to charge up Deadhead or Merciless in a quick way. So that is the Athodai alt fire. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked it, give it a like. And thanks so much for watching today. All right, take it easy, guys.